Hi, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your January 25th, 2024 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps this channel out tremendously. It helps me out tremendously by getting this channel seen by the YouTube algorithm. So, thank you guys so very much for doing so. You're absolutely amazing. So let's see what the tarot has to say. Angels, and spirit guides. Oh, I love that. We start with justice right here, crowning the whole thing. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. And then we have the Eight of Cups reversed. So there's something we're needing to walk away from. We're not quite ready yet. We have the Four of Swords. Spirit's like, okay, rest, slow down. The Four of Pentacles reversed. There's vampiric energy that we're going to be letting go of, but we're kind of becoming more aware of it now than we were before. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. This is the Hermit reverse. So this is us, Virgo. We're represented by the Hermit in the major arcana. So we're coming through reverse saying, hey, listen, Virgo, we can have a tendency during this time to get in our own way. So do be mindful about that. And then we have the Two of Cups, healing, beautiful love. So what's really interesting is we're crowned by justice. So justice is also Libra energy. If we're born on the cusp with Libra, or we have Libra in our charts or Libra in our lives, those are going to come through, and that energy is going to come through quite pronouncedly during this time. So do be aware of this. We also want things to be fair and balanced and just. And we can have a very, how to put it, our way of seeing things as fair can be different than another person's way of seeing things as fair. And so that can kind of, I'm just seeing like, it drives us up the wall. It just does. It makes us really frustrated because we're like, that's not fair. And yet, if you talk to the other person, they'll be like, oh, but that is fair because of XYZ. So just be mindful during this moon. There's something about you not being on the same page or even reading from the same book as another person where you're trying to harmonize things, where you're trying to get things to come together. So just be aware about this during this time. With the Eight of Cups reversed, there is something that we need to walk away from, that it's just not time yet. We're just not there yet. We're not walking away quite yet. With the Four of Swords, we need to rest and honor our story. The Four of Pentacles, there's vampiric energy around us that has been holding us back, keeping us doubting ourselves, keeping us, held back in one way or another. So we're going to be looking at that. It's going to be coming to our attention, but we're not going to fully realize, oh, okay, this is kind of the way I need to see things, or this is the way I need to move forward for me. So we're going to be a little bit stuck in that cycle that once we heal, like once we slow down, we're able to say, oh, I don't want that at all. And then it brings us to the Hermit reverse. Then again, this is us coming through. We can really have a tendency during this full moon, and this full moon is in Leo. So we can really have a tendency during this full moon to get in our own way. So if we're born on the cusp of Leo, this comes through very powerfully. If we have strong Leo in our chart, do be mindful about this. But it's almost like we want to be center stage in things, which is that Leo moon coming forward, most definitely. But there is a need to be calm and quiet. And we need that balance. And that can also be part of this justice energy during this time. Like we need that balance. We need that harmonizing factor within ourselves. And we're not sure if we're getting it. With the Two of Cups, this is healing, beautiful love coming in. This could be the start of a romance if you want it to be, if you don't want it to be, and that's not your thing right now. Don't think, oh, I need that. If your energy is saying, no, that's not for me, or even if you are in a relationship and you're like, listen, we need to kind of like calm things down or just chill out right now and not be so intense, that's also coming through during this time. It's like you need to harmonize in the energy level and where you are energetically at this time, and you need to respect yourself. So it's coming in with healing, beautiful love. It's coming in with a sense of understanding of the self, and that's going to be really important. So let's see what Spirit has to say. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. This is spontaneous. We want to be spontaneous. We do with the Hermit reversed. We're kind of going against our very nature. So just be mindful about this during this time. I laugh because we're going to be like, oh, I want to be in the middle of everything. I want to be doing everything. And when we're done, we're like, oh, I've done all these really cool things. And it's like, yeah, but I just don't feel like I've connected to any of it. So be mindful of that spontaneous energy because it's going to be so cool. It really is. It's like, it's so cool. It's so fun. It's in the middle of everything. And then we're like, well, you know, like now what, type of energy. It's like, well, I don't feel as fulfilled as I thought I would. So do be mindful about this during this time. With the chakra energy, angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. Yeah, we have forgiveness reverse, and this is the heart chakra. Now, what's very interesting with this moon is that Leo is heart energy, is just the most linked with the heart. So when we have the heart chakra coming through, we're going to see that this Leo full moon, it makes us look at our heart. It makes us connect with what we love, what we don't love, where we need to be for ourselves. So, just embracing that energy is going to be so important. And forgiveness, it's forgiving other people. In Qigong, Master Lin, in Spring Forest Qigong, Master Lin has an exercise where you sit down and you forgive. And he said that his masters, when he was learning Qigong, they had him do that for hours, days of just forgiveness. And he went through a really hard time. And he was like, no, I'm not going to forgive these people who, threw my family out into the street. No, I'm not going to, forgive. And his master said, then lie. And he was like, well, what use is that going to be? He's like, because you're going to have to do it. He goes, then lie. And so he was sitting there lying, saying, fine, I forgive you because I want this to be over with. Like, I want this exercise to be done. And then in that midst of that forgiveness, of the lying, it became true. So here, when we talk about forgiveness, I usually say, we don't have to forgive everybody else. It's not about that. But it's about freeing ourselves. So if we can visualize those images of those people and say, I forgive you, it's not for them. It's never for them because they won't even know. It's always for you. And this is going to be a time, I just feel like, oh, okay. Like now it's time to calm. Now it's time to center. Now it's time to connect, where we can see ourselves move forward in a way that is opening up our hearts and moving us forward towards love, towards what we desire, towards what our heart really needs. And it's all going to be through forgiveness. So let's see what our not chakra energy, we just saw that. Let's see what energy we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. This is the Four of Wands. Interesting. Now, this can be the home. It can be what we have devoted ourselves to, how we have looked at certain things. So just be mindful about this during this time, that it doesn't have to be home. It can be work. It can be wherever we spend a great deal of our time. We are devoted to XYZ. It can be a marriage, right? Because the Four of Wands is the minor arcana marriage card. But it is a sense of, this is what I've devoted myself to. And Spirit's like, be mindful, because it might not be where you want to be devoted to. So just being aware of this is going to be super important for us. So let's talk about this time, astrologically speaking. We have the full moon at 5 degrees, 14 minutes of Leo. And what's coming forward is, what is this bringing closure to? So what is this moon bringing closure to? What are we getting justice over, or finding justice within ourselves? We might not be getting justice, and we probably won't be, from another entity, another person, or another system, or what we're looking to get justice from. But we're going to be finding that justice, that balance, that harmony within ourselves. Leo, again, is the heart energy, which surprises me about Leo, because I love Leos to pieces. I have a lot of Leos in my life. But when I think about them, I don't think, oh, heart. I think exhausting. And I know my Leos are watching, and I love you all terribly. I really do. But the drama, sometimes it's just too much. It's like, okay, let's calm it down. Let's scale it back. So when it's the heart energy, it's like they are reacting fully from the heart. And I am a person also who does that. So it can be that energy within myself I find exhausting. And so I find it exhausting when mirrored back. So the Leo is the heart, and Aquarius is the sun. So, and Aquarius is where the sun is, and that's the head. So we're going to be having a link between the heart and the head during this time. But we can also be having a link. Our heart is linking us to what we find exhausting, what we find overwhelming, what we find out of balance, out of harmony within our life during this time. Leo is the sign of the king and sovereignty. So it is the statement of, I know who I am. And it is also the statement of, I know where I create from, which is astounding. I love that statement. I know where I create from. Not I know where I'm created from, but I know where I, as a human being, as a sovereign individual in this cosmic universe, I know where my creative source energy comes from. And that's a huge statement. If you want to dive deeper into the astrology, I highly recommend Pam Gregory here on YouTube. I have her linked in the description box below. She's absolutely brilliant. We then have the dwarf planet Verona, there we go, coming into play. And Verona is conjunct the moon. And this is very powerful moral compass energy during this time. And we can see this with things that we're stuck in. We're going to feel like morally obligated in one way or another. And that can also be being crowned by justice. It's like, oh, but this is the right thing to do. This is the way it needs to be. So being mindful about this, seeing this is going to be super important. This is also very Leo energy, that moral integrity, the truth, the justice, where people have told lies. We're going to see things being brought down to earth and things being brought forward. So justice is going to play a huge part during this time in what we're seeking. But remember, everybody's seeking their own justice and everybody has their own way of interpreting the world. You know, if you can ask people to look at a color swatch and say, oh, that's orange, or no, that's more yellow, then if we can't agree always on colors, then how can we agree on everything else? Like sometimes things are just tricky. Now, we also have the dwarf planet Gung Kung, and this is about 5 degrees of Pisces. So this is linked to coming down to earth. This can also feel overwhelmed. We can also feel overwhelmed, and this can also feel overwhelming in psychic energy. Now, Virgo, we like order. We like a place for everything and everything in its place. That's very earth sign energy. It's very us. We like it. It stabilizes things. It steadies things, and that's going to be very important for us. But here, when we have Gungkung coming forward, Gungkung is also linked to flooding, okay? So we'll see that in our earthly plane. We can see flooding happening. I've seen it, near where I live, where it's just been devastating. And I've seen it, all around the world. We've seen it all around the world. So with the energy that's also coming forward from Gungkung is Gungkung is the channeler of psychic energy. And we can be flooded with that energy. We can feel astoundingly overwhelmed by it. It's coming down to earth. And we can feel overwhelmed by this psychic energy that's bringing things forward in a way that we hadn't wanted to see it or we hadn't wanted to connect with it. So what's going to start to happen is we're going to start to look at things in a different way. And we're going to start to welcome change. And that's going to be a very interesting thing, but we have to slow down. That's why I laugh at the spontaneous energy, like the energy, I just see it here. Like we love to be in the middle of everything. Actually, right now, Virgo, you would be very much like, I just see a bit of a partier energy coming forward, which is usually not the Virgo way, but I just see that as like, I want to be in the midst of everything. I want to be having so much fun. I want to be living out loud, vibrant colors, vibrancy, all of this stuff coming forward. And yet we're running away. What we're doing is we're running away from the psychic energy that's channeling us, that's connecting with us. And we're going to start to welcome this change as we start to slow things down. Now we have the fixed grand cross, which is between the sun at 5 degrees of Aquarius, the moon at 5 degrees of Leo, Jupiter, which is at 6 degrees of Taurus, opposing Hume, which is at 2 degrees of Scorpio. This is enormous determination. It's the grit to see things through. And this is also where we can see with the 8 of Cups and the 4 of Pentacles, where we're like, no, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to do this. I don't want to walk away. I had a plan. I don't want to leave the energy that I'm in because I'm fixing it right now, right? I'm busy. And that energy comes forward. And it's like, okay, I see it. But what about the healing, beautiful love? What about the harmonizing of the self? What about the balance of where we need to be for us? So just knowing that, yes, we have the grit. We have the grit, we have the gumption, we have the determination. We can do it. We can do anything we set our mind to during this time. Make it count, though. Don't let it be something that's just draining you and wearing you down and pulling you down a path that you're just tired of walking anyway. We have Jupiter T-squared the full moon, which is going to magnify anything that we're going through. It's going to magnify the good. It's going to be brilliant. The bad, horrific. So just be mindful about this during this time. Horrific is a bit of a strong word. So just be mindful about this. We are going to see ourselves leaving, being released from energy that has been wearing at us because we're going to be noticing it. It's that psychic development that's coming in. And as we decide to open up the third eye, as we decide to connect with ourselves, we're going to be transformed. We really are going to be transformed and surprised. The sun is conjunct Pluto. Now with Leo being Now, with Leo bringing things center stage, we will see secrets brought to light regarding people of prominence. This can even be regarding people in prominence in our own life. So just be aware of this. We can see it with celebrities, we can see it with politicians, we can see it with, with those type of entities, but we can also see it in our own lives. So do be aware. Now, Mercury is conjunct Mars. This is important for us. Virgo, we're ruled by Mercury. Okay. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Virgo, we're ruled by Mercury. So connection, talking, we can talk really fast. We like to collect a lot of knowledge. We can dive really deep into things, maybe even become a little bit obsessed with something. So that energy is going to just be really important to us. So when it is conjunct Mars in Capricorn, we have that quick thinking energy. We have the quick mind. We're really, on top of things. We're moving quickly with things. In Capricorn, we're also looking long term, and we're able to make long term decisions and look at things for the long term and be very kind of practical, but very also fluid in our mind and in different ways of seeing things, opening up different doors. But we have to be mindful of being sharp with our words, especially when there's a certain level of anonymity or thinking, oh, it doesn't really matter. Like, I can just say what I want type of thing. So be mindful, especially online, but anywhere where it just feels like I can just say what I want to say. So just be mindful about this. Venus is quadrant Uranus, which is volatile around money. So do be mindful about this as well. Okay. Because we do have that Four of Pentacles, that sense of what was locked away is falling away. And we're going to see that within ourselves, like that energy that was locking us down, that was keeping us from moving forward, that was holding us back, that was draining us. It's going. And so that can also mean that in our sense of, I'm going to be spontaneous, I'm going to be in the middle of everything, we can spend money super, super quickly. So just be mindful about this. Now, the dwarf planet Ixion is at 5 degrees of Capricorn conjunct Venus. Now, we've talked about this before, and we're going to talk about it again because it's quite beautiful and remarkable. We are being asked, are the rules that you are playing by the right ones? And I love that question. Are the rules that are conducting your life the right ones? It doesn't mean social politeness and stuff like that. It's not, having good manners and everything like that. That's not what Spirit is talking about. But it's saying here, are the rules that you are saying, this is what I have to achieve, this is how I have to achieve it, this is who I have to be, this is what success looks like, this is what happiness looks like. Are they the right ones for you? Or if you stopped, would you realize that, oh man, I'm not even in alignment with myself right now. I'm not following my soul's wish and desire. The Four of Pentacles is also for me the wound of Chiron. Now, the wound of Chiron is the wound that we are born with. And what's so interesting is we can find that wound in our, natal chart. We can. And then it's that wound that we are supposed to overcome. And it's that wound for which all other hurts, pains, disappointment, wounds are built off of in our life. So just being aware of that is going to be a super powerful thing. So we're coming forward in our lives. And we're going to see that Leo loves drama. So just be mindful about that. Leo loves drama. And we're moving towards February, which is an electric month for us. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels. And spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Interesting. So it's going to be an intense moon, no lie about that. We have here peace. And look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. And that is all linked to justice, balance, harmony. Coming to it from a place of peace. A centering of the self. This is a time, it's not to care what everybody else thinks, what everybody else is saying, how everybody else perceives things. I mean, yes, we have to kind of play ball with the world, most definitely. But there's a real sense here of, if I am just to myself, and if I ground myself in peace, and I look at the big picture of what I want, how do I move forward? We can tend to be rather myopic. And this is going to be a time where we're taking out of that myopic vision, like that tunnel vision, and we're pulled forward. It could be overwhelming, most definitely, but we're pulled forward to look at the bigger picture of where we want to be. And we're going to see a personal issue is reaching resolution as we see the wisdom in stopping to fight what has already ended. And that's going to be important. There's something here with the Eight of Cups. It's like we're holding on. And Spirit's like, but why? So just be mindful about this during this time. We're holding on, but Spirit is asking us why. What are we holding on to? And why are we holding on to it? Show the world the real you. That's something that we're having a hard time doing. You know, we want to be in the midst of everything, but it's almost like we're trying on masks. It's like we're at a masquerade ball. We're trying on masks, we're trying on costumes, we're trying it on, we're seeing how it fits. It doesn't matter our age. And if we think, wow, I should really, know this by now, we're always seeing, we're always searching, we're always discovering. We're going to find that we need to start following our pleasure. And it doesn't mean that we live heathenistically. It's not every moment of every day has to be filled with an abundance of pleasure, or else you're not doing it right. No, life is filled with doing plenty of things that you just don't want to do, but because you have to do it. So what we're going to see here is to look at, what if I showed the world who I really am? What if I liked what I really liked? I mean, okay, we're not talking about perverse things. We're coming from a place of love and compassion and kindness and moving forward in that energy. So I don't want anybody to be mistaken here. But what if we let our pleasure show and let ourselves say, this is my heart. This is what I desire. And this is what brings me pleasure. And it doesn't matter if people understand it or not. I like crocheting and knitting and embroidery. You can buy socks. You don't have to make them. They cost less, right? To buy them, and you can get a huge pack, and it doesn't take you any time at all. Whereas it can take you weeks to knit a sock. So here, there's just a sense of like, what brings you pleasure? What moves you forward? What makes you happy? Where's your bliss? Where's your joy? And are you connecting with that? It brings us then to the new moon, which says a new start is coming. With the blockages that we have, there's going to be a time from this full moon to the new moon where we really feel stuck. And I know nobody wants to hear this, but it's not that long a time at all. And we're going to be looking at things and saying, okay, but where do I need to be? Like, what am I discovering for me? How am I moving forward? What is it that I desire? And just from a full moon to a new moon, which I think is about, I want to say 15 days, but don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. It's just numbers coming into my head. We're going to see the resistance coming. It's like, we know what is trying to stop us from growing and becoming and connecting. And we're going to start to see ourselves come forward and say, I'm releasing the resistance. And what if I let this new start come? What if I released the negativity that was holding me back? And it brings us to the surrendering to the divine, to embracing the void, which we have these both reverse, where we have the full moon coming in and we don't want to surrender to the divine. Actually, we're going to see ourselves quite lunarly, affected, and we're not going to want to be. We're going to want to be more affected by things that we decide and we will. And, our world is very much, especially in our Western world, we very much look at things as a meritocracy, right? If I work hard, I achieve. There are plenty of people who work hard, who don't achieve the level that some people do, who work half as hard. So I do believe an element of fate is in there, right? And in the stars is in there. And there's some sort of randomness to our universe if we don't want to believe in fate and the stars and everything like that. It brings us to the void. Connecting with the infinite expanse of the universe is terrifying, but it's also beautiful. So we're going to be looking at this energy coming forward. And as we do this, as we surrender to the divine, which is going to be difficult for us, it is reversed. And as we embrace the void of existence and self and soul, we have the hermit come forward. We have ourselves come forward. And as we do this, we'll turn to the upright position and see ourselves. Virgo, you're always quiet. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I know our world thinks that quiet is bad, but sometimes being quiet is the wisest thing you could ever do. I mean, more people should be quiet and listen and take things in. And we're going to be seeing that with ourselves. And this is going to be a time where it's like, slow down. and just connect. Slow down and just soak in the light of this moon. If you have a skylight, sitting under that light, it can be fantastic. If you can go outside, if it's not frigidly cold, do that. Connect with this during this time. It's going to be super important for us to connect with this moon, even though that is like the last thing that we want to do. And it moves us to an end of a tough cycle approaches. And that's reverse. We don't feel like that. And yet we have the healing, beautiful love coming in. We have our resilience. We've been carrying a lot for a very long time. And now it's time to let it go. We don't believe an end of a tough cycle approaches. We've always been carrying this weight. And Spirit's like, but why are you carrying it? Like, what is it for? And we're going to be looking at things and being like, I don't know. What is it for? It's like, but it's just always been there. Like, what do you do if you don't have it? And Spirit's like, wouldn't that be a miraculous thing to see? What do you do if you're not carrying your world tree on your back? Our subconscious spirit message is mindful. Be mindful. That's how you manifest. Listen to your mind. Connect with yourself. Be mindful. It moves us then to our subconscious chakra message, which is the sacral chakra. And this is relationship. What is your relationship like with yourself? What is the relationship like with those closest to you? Embracing your sacral chakra, which is, yes, where your sensual energy is held, but it's also where your creative energy is held. A relationship is not just with a romantic partner. A relationship is with everybody. It's with people at work. It's with, family members. It's with friends. It's with, just acquaintances that you say hi to in the street as you're walking by. But it's also with yourself. What is that relationship looking like? How do we connect more with us? And how do we see the beauty, sensuality, passion, existence of our world? It moves us then to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And that's the Two of Pentacles reversed. We're not wanting to balance everything. And we're not going to be very good at balancing everything. So just be mindful about this. We're going to want to put a lot on our plate and have to get a lot done and really put harsh expectations on ourselves. And Spirit's like, listen, you're not going to be good at it. But so why are we still trying? Like, we're just going to think, okay, multitasking. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And we're just going to be draining ourselves. It's just running the battery without ever charging it. Our subconscious tarot message is the Emperor. This is Aries energy. So if you have Aries in your life, Aries in your chart, that's going to come through very profoundly during this time. And this Aries energy is that connection with the sacred masculine. It's the determination. It's the insight. It's the focus. It's the embracing your power. It's the looking at who you are. It's seeing things. And an emperor is not a gambler. An emperor looks at their kingdom, at their world, and says, how do I make this as successful and as prosperous as possible? Yes, there are some gambles that an emperor will take, but a really good emperor is like, how do I keep things peaceful? How do I keep things bountiful for my people? And that's what we're going to be seeing for ourselves. It's like, how do I move things forward with the most prosperity, the most bounty, and the least amount of pain? And also connecting with our sacred masculine energy, our sacred masculine self, which can be very difficult. We can have more of a leaning towards the sacred feminine, feel that energy is much more comforting, or we can have much more of a leaning towards the sacred masculine. But remember, when people talk about, toxic masculinity, which I know people disagree with me, but I don't like that. I don't like those words because, and it's just a matter of semantics, but I don't like toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, where you sit there and you say all of this is bad. It's like, no, things that are taken to the extreme and used as bullying and hurtful and hateful tactics, those are bad. But that's a way of being that's bad. And it's not to shame everybody else. So here it is looking at the masculine energy in our world and saying, no matter how you identify in this life, I need a balance of this in my existence to stand tall and proud within myself and to move me forward. Our subconscious Luna message is beauty. And what do you need to release? The beauty that we find in our natural world. Here, there's the lip, the nose, the outline of the face, the eye, the eyebrow. And I cannot tell you, when I started using these cards, how long I used these cards for. And I think I saw like I don't know, maybe the lips or something like that in this card. It's just like something very, very small. And I remember thinking, oh, that's weird. And then one day I was using the cards and I saw the whole entire face. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so silly. Dane, you should really read the books, right? And I never do. So here, there's this energy coming forward where it's like there's beauty that is easily overlooked until one day your mind opens to it. And that's going to be really important. What do you need to release? What is holding you back? Because we have this blockage during this time and it's going to be real. We have this blockage around what we need to release. And we're thinking, no, I don't need to release this. I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly great. Like, this is where I need to be. I need to keep on holding on. I can make this work. I can change this. It will be. And Spirit's like, you're wasting so much energy. Let yourself shine. And let yourself be calm and quiet and beautiful. All right, Virgo. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power, intensity, and beauty of this time and of ourselves. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Virgo. May blessings and prosperity always be with you. I love you all. God bless. Bye.